It's noon in Kiev, and you're watching Our Time. I'll tell you the main news at this hour. I'm Katarina Vishnevska. Hello. So it's an important day for Ukraine at the Munich Security Conference. Today, Volodymyr Zelenskyy will speak during a special session. There will also be a discussion panel with the NATO Secretary General and the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola. A meeting is expected between the Ukrainian President and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who has already addressed world leaders. In his speech, he touched on the topic of negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Marco Rubio noted that the United States administration does not know for sure whether Russia is truly committed to achieving peace in Ukraine. Ukraine has received information from the U.S. about the readiness to ratify security guarantees in Congress. This was stated at the Munich Security Conference by the head of the Ukrainian Amid, Andrei Sybiha.
There is no power in this world like America's. We see this now in conflicts that need to be stopped all over the world. Without the involvement and pressure of the U.S., it won't work. Without U.S. assistance in our defense within the context of NATO, European security would not be what it is today. So, despite all the challenges and difficulties we have in our transatlantic relations, and I don't deny that some of them exist, our goal should be to preserve this transatlantic bond, to maintain U.S. involvement in Europe, because this is also in the interest of the United States.
And in turn, the U.S. ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, stated that one phone call from Beijing could stop Russia's war against Ukraine. Whitaker emphasized that China is providing crucial support to Russia's aggression in Ukraine.
China could call Vladimir Putin and end this war tomorrow, as well as stop selling dual-use technologies. Beijing could stop buying Russian oil and gas. You know, this war is entirely possible thanks to China. Matthew Whitaker, U.S. ambassador to NATO. From a Bloomberg report.
Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron yesterday called for strengthening Europe's position. According to him, there is still no signs that Russia is seeking a real compromise in peace negotiations. The president of France insists that the EU must ensure Ukraine's protection and maintain European security.
I fully support President Trump's desire for a peaceful settlement through negotiations, which must be fair, lasting, and reliable. And I want to believe that we are getting closer to that. But while the negotiations are taking concrete shape, Russia continues to shell civilians and destroy energy infrastructure with the clear aim of forcing Ukrainians to submit. The solution cannot be to concede to Russia's demands, but rather to increase pressure on Russia.
But while the world discusses security, the Russian army continues to attack Odesa. Last night, the occupying forces carried out drone strikes. One of these drones hit a private house, and a woman died under the rubble. This was reported by the city authorities. Rescue workers are on the scene. Emergency services as well. The Russian army also attacked Kherson using various types of drones, as well as artillery and glide bombs. 2 people were killed, and 4 others were injured. This was reported by the head of the Regional Military Administration, Alexander Prokudin. 2 apartment buildings and 6 private houses were damaged. The Russian occupiers also damaged a gas pipeline. And in total, over the past night, Russian forces launched 113 aerial weapons at Ukraine, including 70 Shahed drones and 1 Iskander ballistic missile. Air defense forces managed to neutralize 91 drones. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy presented the Order of Freedom to Ukrainian skeleton racer Vladislav Geraskevych and thanked him for his principled stance. The head of state met yesterday in Munich with the Olympian and his father, Mikhailo Geraskevych, who is the coach of Ukraine's national skeleton team. With great respect to you and, of course, to all our Olympians who supported you and your position, medals are important for Ukraine and for you, but I think what matters most is who you are. I believe you are a remarkable person, and I am sure that all the other results that are so important to you will definitely come. And Ukraine will have both champions and Olympians. The most important thing Ukraine has is its people. You're an example of such a Ukrainian. In turn, Vladislav Geraskevych thanked President Zelenskyy for his support and emphasized that Ukrainians have united against injustice.
And most importantly, right now, the whole world is truly talking about these athletes depicted on the helmet. And despite their deaths, they are now drawing attention to Ukraine. They are uniting people around Ukraine. And this is truly something very special.
Sports competitions for Ukrainian soldiers who have suffered severe injuries. In Dnipro, doctors regularly organize them. Right in the hospital. This kind of activity helps patients recover faster after amputation and promotes their healing. This time, they held a table tennis tournament. Natalia Husak will tell us how it went.
Just 3 days ago, Volodymyr was lying in intensive care. He suffered a severe injury on February 5th. He says he and his comrades were carrying out a combat mission when they came under fire.
He took all the fire upon himself. The whole crew made it out. The driver was unharmed. The vehicle was on fire, but we managed to make it back. I gave myself first aid, kept in touch with command, and waited for evacuation.
The doctors couldn't save one of Volodymyr's legs, but he didn't lose hope. As soon as he was transferred to the trauma unit, he wanted to get back to an active life.
Not losing heart. This isn't the worst thing that could have happened. I've got my head, my hands, my eyes. They gave me a wheelchair. I sat down and took off. Why just lie around? Movement is life.
As soon as Volodymyr found out that a table tennis championship for wounded soldiers would be held at the hospital, he immediately signed up to participate. For their patients, for one day, the doctors at the Dnipro hospital turned the rehab center's hall into a sports gym. They set up 2 table tennis tables there and invited everyone who wanted to join. Vyacheslav was wounded in Vuhledar. In 2022, he stepped on a mine. His fellow soldiers helped evacuate him. They carried him 1.5 kilometers to the medevac. He survived, but his leg had to be amputated. He goes through rehabilitation regularly, including sports rehab. During one of his recovery courses, he started playing table tennis.
I picked up a paddle and tried to play. I forced myself to grab the paddle and started playing. Of course, nothing worked. Everything hurt. But that's how it happened, and you have to live with it. The main thing is not to let yourself relax, because then you could just melt into a little puddle.
A professional athlete was also invited to the competition as a participant. Vasily Koval took up table tennis only after he ended up in a wheelchair following an accident. Now he coaches veterans with amputations. These are the guys who came to us a year ago. I don't even recognize them now.
The guys who came to us a year ago, I don't recognize them now. They're already starting to run. And they started out slowly, just hitting the ball. Today it's a little, tomorrow it's already more. But that's how the excitement builds. And all the guys here are competitive.
Doctors see these kinds of competitions as part of rehabilitation. They say that for soldiers after severe injuries, it's necessary to recover not just physically, but emotionally too.
A healthy, active, and positive attitude toward the world, an active lifestyle, and playing sports, these are essential. And this is an example that any difficulties with physical or mental health can be overcome. Table tennis promotes physical activity, and it's a playful kind of physical activity at that.
The hospital plans to hold similar championships regularly so that as many servicemen as possible can take part after their injuries. Natalia Gusu, Vladimir Stengela for Freedom TV Channel.